if you look at landscape scale degradation. So in essence, the two parts of the puzzle are diverging. So we sat down one day and thought, well, maybe there's a way in which we can try, in a small way, to bring them closer together. And we believe Healthy Parks, Healthy People helps that dialogue. Our country is becoming more urbanised, and if you look at the world over, Healthy Parks, Healthy People approach to this. Similar perhaps to four-wheel drive Victoria, our deer shooters and sporting shooters groups were not the greatest advocates of parks and conservation. So we sat down with them and said, well, how can you help be part of the solution here? You've got skills, you've got members, you've got people, we've got areas of land and we've got pests. So together, we're now doing deer control programs, and bear in mind, for many deer hunters, eradication of deer is not what they want, because deer are protected under our Wildlife Act for the purposes of hunting. But they've come on board, and if you know Melbourne, there's a national park on the doorsteps of Melbourne called the Dandenong Ranges. High value conservation for a number of species, but also completely surrounded by urban interface. And we're now doing deer shooting programs in there with a very significant increase in lyrebird populations and park health. We're also about to expand this program to include Wilson's Promontory and a number of high conservation areas in the Alpine National Park. Our current government has just taken the opportunity to remove cattle grazing, and they've legislated that. So it's now incumbent on us to look at the other pressures in the park around feral deer and feral horses particularly, but also pigs. So where to from here? Because I've just outlined a couple of the programs and there are more. We've developed the Healthy Parks, Healthy People Action Plan based on the 10 recommendations from the World Parks Congress. The plan's divided into 4 geographical scales. Firstly, Parks Victoria, and I apologise if this sounds a bit conceited, is a world leader in the Healthy Parks, Healthy People approach at an international scale. We want to influence the policy debate in the World Health Organization and the IUCN. We want to support our international agencies and partners, including DOC, amongst many others. And we're also going to help establish Healthy Parks, Healthy People Global. So at a point in the near future, it won't be Parks Victoria advocating right around the world for this. It'll be a global organisation doing it on behalf of all of the conservation organisations in the world. Secondly, Healthy Parks, Healthy People is integrated into park and health sector policies in Australia and New Zealand. And I know your Minister is very, very keen on this approach, and I'm sure she'll talk to us this afternoon about her views on it. We want to establish an alliance of Australia and New Zealand park agencies to improve effectiveness, share our knowledge and learnings from programs, support the brand recognition and what it means, and enable prospective sponsors. And I will say, when we started this idea 10 years ago, it was just that, it was a brand. But I think over the 10-year life of this program, we've taken it from a brand, built the evidence, and put it into a program that has meaning. Thirdly, Healthy Parks, Healthy People is embraced by the Victorian Government and community, and it's shown through a range of partnerships and programs that are unequivocal in their success. And fourthly, but probably most importantly, Parks Victoria staff are the champions of this in the community. And if you get that right, then it becomes a much easier thing to talk about. Most recently, as I talked about, economics is really important in the language of convincing government of the worth of a program. And I mentioned one around the avoided healthcare cost. We've just recently completed a study that has shown that an example of the services and benefits that parks may provide include a contribution of over $1 billion gross value added and about 13,800 jobs to the state economy through park-related tourism. And to be honest, we're behind New Zealand in this. The tourism industry in New Zealand, working hand in glove with the parks sector here, is a benchmark that we're trying to follow and catch up to. Water supply catchments in parks capture water for drinking and food production valued at $244 million per year. Now, Australia is a very dry continent, and that's incredibly important to our economy and our way of life. Contribution of up to $150 million per year to food production through pollination. And, you know, you often hear people talk about the effects of climate change. Well, the bees are one of the most fundamental, and the insects that help pollinate are one of the most fundamental links in our food chain. Providing $600 million to $1 billion per annum of recreational value for park visitors. And as I mentioned, avoiding health costs associated with physical inactivity by at least $80 to $200 million per annum. Last slide, beautiful, thank you. So in conclusion, healthy parks, healthy people is not going to be the panacea for everyone, for everything. We acknowledge that, but we are proudly trying to sell it as one of the tools in the toolbox that I think can help reinvigorate a debate around the world on the importance of people and conservation being connected. It also means a cross-sectoral approach to particularly health, sport and recreation and park organisations, NGOs and the broader community to deliver goals of common interest. And one of the lessons for us has been that partnerships are key to success. Between agencies, with communities, the private sector, not-for-profit, and most importantly, or at the very least, with traditional owners. So to make a difference, we want to pass on to future generations a better world, and that should be all of our goal, one that's intact, sustainable and prosperous. And Healthy Parks, Healthy People provides us with a lens to aim for it, one that relies on a deep and enduring respect and understanding that our natural capital is entwined with our social and economic health and well-being. Thank you.